question before we sign off, but who would you like to see coach the Cowboys?
Out of the options that are available right now.
Jones.
Yeah, fuck, you might as well. I mean...
Friends, countrymen, fellow degenerates, welcome to this episode of Bets and Buds. We are the Buds helping you cash your bets. I'm Jason Smoking Token.
I'm Bobby Light.
We are in the divisional round of the NFL playoff season here, brother. We're here. The countdown is going. We're almost to the end of the season here. We got the College Football National Championship going. Blues hockey still going, probably like mid-season form. Almost to the All-Star break here for that, for the Blues. So, Bobby Light, how you been doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm cold. I'm tired of being cold all the time.
Yeah,
but other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, it's been Midwest we haven't had in a while. I mean, not like this. I mean, usually like we get snow around here, that shit's gone in a day or two.
A day or two, and it's been hanging around.
Yeah, we're working on about a week and a half, 2 weeks of this shit. So, well, welcome to winter. Welcome to winter.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done already.
Yeah, I think everybody's done with this shit. But that's either here nor there. So let's dive into a little bit of Blues action here. If you want to cover anything, we got to go with them before we move on to the
Blues
playoffs.
got a big win last night. They went off against Calgary, who they're chasing in the standings. Going into last night, Calgary has that last playoff position at 49 points.
Yes, that's a huge win.
So that was a huge win. They picked up 2 points on Calgary. Now they're only 3 points out. They're sitting in a decent spot. They still only have about a 10% chance of making the playoff as it sits right now. But with Montgomery having come on, I mean, they're 12-8. And 3 with him under helm. So, right. I mean, they're picking up points where they have to. They just gotta beat them Western Conference opponents. Yep. They just gotta keep clawing them points down.
And those teams they need to beat, like not losing to San Jose and Columbus
well, that's the thing. I was kind of perturbed about the Columbus because you've lost to them twice in the last 2 weeks. But Columbus is a playoff team right now. Yeah. So Columbus is actually where you would like to be sitting.
Right.
So.
Yeah. True story.
But other than that, you've got the trade deadline coming up. It'll be after the Four Nations face-off. But that'll happen in about a month. Mm-hmm. So it'll be real interesting. The Blues have a lot of ground to make up still. I mean, 3 points isn't a lot, but they've got games. Teams got games in hand on them. Since they've already played 45, like Calgary's got 43. So
yeah, football will be over by then, so I'll actually be able to pay attention.
Yep.
All right. So we got the national championship coming up for college here. So I have a little personal bias in this one. I being a huge Notre Dame fan, This was a huge victory for them last week against Penn State. We got Marcus Freeman, who looks like an amazing coach. He looked like the answer for that culture change that Notre Dame has needed for a long overdue process here. Ohio State looks like the monster, though, that needs to be slayed big time. We'll see what happens as far as going into this game. I'm trying not to have too much of my analyst side of this going into my bias of Notre Dame. Right. So, honestly, I think Notre Dame would still cover the 8.5 points that they are. It's a 46.5 over and under on that one. I like the under on that game. I feel like it's going to be a dogfight shootout. If it goes over, I don't see any way that Notre Dame could win the game.
They can't keep up with the firepower.
Not because Riley Leonard really is he's deficient in the pass game a little bit. The running game looks amazing, but the Ohio State team is just absolutely fucking loaded.
That Notre Dame defense it's going to carry them. If they do win, it'll be because of that defense.
They're going to have to win the turnover battle.
Yes.
That's going to be the main thing. They're going to have to win the turnover battle. Maybe a big special teams play. That's going to be what's going to keep them in this game.
Strip sack for a fumble.
Yeah, you never know. You just never know. So I mean, but I like the way their defense has been playing. Run game has been stout. So I mean, let's see what happens going into this game here. I think my own personal fandom in play and put aside, I think Ohio State's going to probably win this game and win the national championship. Notre Dame can cover that, though, and I think the under will hit on that 46.5.
I actually gotta root for Notre Dame on this one, just so I don't have to listen to the Big Ten crowd.
Yeah.
Just so I don't have to listen to that. Notre Dame being an independent football school, they can.
But you know what, though? The Notre Dame fans are going to come out the woodwork just like the Cowboys. If they win the championship, you're going to hear all this bullshit about all these people, how much they love Notre Dame their whole life, and all this other bullshit. Because just like I said, if the Cowboys win again, you watch all these Cowboy sweatshirts and everything else start coming out of the woodwork and everything. I've loved them since the 5th grade. Like, fuck off.
You see it here in Missouri with the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Nobody gave a shit about the Chiefs when they sucked.
No, absolutely not. And then all of a sudden they start winning championships and they say, I'm going for them because our Missouri team and the Rams left, so I had to go to Chiefs. Shut up. Yeah, because they were losing, you wouldn't be rooting for the Chiefs right now. So anyway, so let's go into this. Let's go into that slate from last week. I mean, it was a great. The only one good game, really. Honestly, I mean, we had the Washington game.
Yeah, the Washington-Tampa Bay game.
Yeah, Washington-Tampa Bay was the only good one. The rest of them were boat races. I mean, I didn't really see them going as lopsided as they were. That's why my record was so shitty last week. I expected the Broncos to cover. I expected the Steelers to cover. The Broncos looked good up first, but I mean, the Bills were just looked a little too loaded going into that week. The Texans shocked me. That game was a big. I mean, I thought for sure the Chargers had that game.
I did too.
Yeah, I mean, I thought for sure the Chargers were going to play just because of the way the Texans finished up the season at the end of the year. But the Texans played a good, strong game, and that's what you never know when you get into playoff action. The momentum changes things, and
I mean, if San Diego scores even one touchdown out of them, 2 first field goals instead of kicking LA. God dang it, the Chargers. Damn it, the Chargers. San Diego is where they belong.
Yes, they do. But
if they score at least one touchdown instead of kicking the 2 field goals, I mean, they probably carry a little more momentum going into that half. But I mean, not scoring the touch and then giving everything back to him in the last 5 minutes.
4 picks by Herbert, who had more picks than he had all season in one game.
That is crazy.
And so again, let's talk about this just before we move on to this week's slate. So again, Justin Herbert, I love Justin Herbert. I think he's a great quarterback. But if he was a Dallas Cowboy quarterback with his playoff record, with some of the performances that he's had during the playoffs, how loud would it be for Justin Herbert still being the man? Because think about the shit that Dak Prescott takes. I mean, he was that's what shows you what the type of pressure it is to be the Cowboys quarterback. Because if he was a Cowboys quarterback right now, they would be slaying him. They would absolutely be slaying him right now. You had a couple people touch on it and say, "Oh, well, he hasn't won a big game, still he's improved himself in the playoffs." But again, he's out there in Los Angeles with the Chargers. They're the second team really out there in that area, so nobody really gives him the slack, and he's still kind of the darling. But I mean, him and Dak Prescott, I mean, really kind of have a lot of similar traits when it comes to that big game, that playoff performance. So we'll see what happens going forward
regular
there.
Seasons and then.
But I do think Jim Harbaugh has that team going in the right direction, and once they get a few more weapons offensively, they are going to be a problem.
Well, if you would have said when they hired him after last year, like they were going to be back in the playoffs this year, I doubt many people picked the Chargers to make the playoffs.
No, I mean, I think everybody thought maybe 9-8.
Yeah, they'd be a better team, obviously.
Yes, I mean, they went 10-7, or what is it, 10-7?
Yep,
10-7, so got into the playoffs. Good season for them, but they really didn't beat a lot of winning teams when you look on the record during the course of the season. So let's go focus in this week's slate. So the first game on Saturday that kicks us off is the Texans at the Chiefs. This is actually the game that started the Chiefs' dynasty run with Deshaun Watson and those boys. Yeah, they actually jumped out on them on 24-0, and all of a sudden the Chiefs come back, and I think they end up winning like 51-31 or something along those lines.
It was crazy.
So we'll see what happens here. The Texans are 8.5-point dogs. Who you liking this game?
I actually like Kansas City to hold serve at home. The Texans, I just don't think they fixed all their problems with one victory over San Diego.
No.
But I do like Houston to keep this one close. That Houston defense is not bad.
Oh, they're good. I mean,
and the Kansas City offense really hasn't been clicking at the same level that they have in past seasons.
But they've had 2 weeks off. When you look at Andy Reid's record coming off a bye.
You're not wrong there. Yeah. You're not wrong. But I do like Kansas City win, but I'll take the 8.5 points for Houston, and I'll take the over 41.5 in this one.
You know what? I like the over. I'm in total agreement with you on there. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. But I actually like the 8.5 for the Chiefs to cover
that one.
Yeah, because I kind of see this kind of getting away from the Texans a little bit here.
Okay.
They might play them a little tight early, but the Chiefs are going to really got to get this thing rolling. They're fresh. They got a lot of they got to get healthy. Patrick Mahomes with an ankle sprain, he's healthy now. Kelsey being an older player, he's gotten to get his body loose and freed up. And as far as getting a little bit of health, Chris Jones was a little bit hobbled towards going to that, so he's got a chance to get healthy. So I see this kind of really being a game that and then you got Marquise Hollywood Brown, who's been back in the fold. He's going to be involved in offense a lot more. So I really like how this is going to kind of transpire for the Chiefs to actually kind of boat race this game here.
So you like the over, though?
Yes, I do like the over. I like the over at 41.5.
Yeah, 41.5 seems low.
Yeah, it's a little low, I think, for this game. I mean, but I like, so I definitely like the over. That would be almost my lock pick, I think, for this week. All right. Next up, we got the Commanders at the Lions. Commanders who pulled out a big victory, the doink field goal to beat the Buccaneers.
After watching that kicker go through all that crazy
OCD, take off the shoe, put the shoe back on.
If he misses that kick, he probably never sees the NFL field again.
Probably not. And what's going to suck for him going into this game is because how many people brought that up over and over again. How many cameras are going to be on him for that?
Every time he lines up to take a kick.
Yes, absolutely. So that's going to be kind of the shitty part for him in that regard.
You know, he tried out for for 8 teams this year,
and this
Washington
is the
was the last one.
Well, this is the Commanders' fourth kicker.
Yeah,
fourth kicker right now this year. So, I mean, we'll see what happens in this game. Right now, they're 9.5-point dogs going to Detroit. Detroit has been a wagon, I mean, all season long. I mean, they really have looked amazing. Nobody really has looked to stop them. Their only real major loss that, I mean, was a close one. It was the Buccaneers. They lost that game there. And that was, kind of early in the season. Like, I think it was like the fifth week of the season or so when that game played out. I like the Commanders to cover this game, only because Detroit has showed they have a problem with running quarterbacks. So I think Jaden Daniels, who seems like has a lot of poise to his game.
Oh, he's unflappable.
Oh, yeah, he does. He has a lot of poise to his game. He doesn't seem like he gets shook or rattled very easily. He's played a lot of football when he was in college. At this point, he's not a rookie anymore. No. He's now gotten himself into that veteran status. I like the Commanders to cover this game at 9.5, but I like the Lions to win. I like the under because it's 55.5. That's a little bit high.
That's a lot.
That's a little bit high. Now I can see them still go over it. I mean, as far as from a gambling special, when you're going prop bets and everything like that, you need it to go over probably because, I mean, that's going to be the gamblers.
Yeah, that will be gamblers.
I would gladly lose the under on the 55.5 if I get a prop
bet
on
touchdowns.
Hit that touchdown, some yardage and all that stuff. I mean, I really like that in that regard there. Who do you like, Bobby?
I like we're in total agreement on this one. Give me that 9.5 points for Washington. I'll take the under 55.5, and I like Detroit to serve at home.
All right, sounds good. All right, next up we got the Rams at the Eagles. The Rams who put it on those Vikings. Sam Darnold probably lost himself about $150 million easily in the last 2 weeks, having those last 2 games. We saw the Sam Darnold that we all know and don't love. I mean, like Sam Darnold was, sorry about it, Neil. If you tune in and watch us, I told you were flying too close to the sun, brother. You're rooting and cheering about those Vikings.
As good as he looked all year, to snap back to normal Sam Darnold in the last 2 games, that is kind of disheartening.
It is. I mean, but you know what? He still played himself into another NFL contract.
I would think somebody would be able to.
If anything, I would see them going towards more like a Baker Mayfield contract where he got like 3 years, $115 million or whatever it was. Basically, got like a $30 to $35 million average, not the $50 to $55 million.
But you don't think it'll be the Vikings, do you? I mean, why? You've got that rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this stage, I don't think the Vikings can do that. I mean, like at this point, I mean, how do you justify it to your fans being that close? You got a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract who can pretty much probably do the same thing that Sam Darnold did this season under Kevin O'Connell. So, I mean, I think going forward, I mean, I think the Vikings going to have to pretty much kind of look to move on. Sam Darnold probably be one of the top free agent quarterbacks. Outside of if Aaron Rodgers comes back this season, they will see what goes on there, where coaches fall in each place, and kind of move on from that. Okay. All right, so with this game with the Rams and the Eagles, who do you like, Bobby?
I like Philly to win this game. I really thought about this one a lot. I was like, 6 points for the Rams.
I got 6.5.
They're capable of keeping it close. They're capable of going in there and winning.
I love that defensive line, man.
Especially with the way Philly looked last week. I mean, they didn't look strong.
I mean, you got a battle of strengths right there too, because Philly has a strong offensive line, but the Rams' defensive line, they got some young dogs on that defensive line, man. They look really, really good.
I mean, I don't care what team you are. You get to the quarterback 9 times in a game.
Oh, yeah.
You're bringing some heat.
So I blame Sam Darnold for at least 5 of those sacks.
Oh, yeah. He definitely. Well, there was a replay on X the other day where they showed the TV footage, but it was the radio commentator.
Oh, from the Vikings? Yeah, Paul Allen. Paul Allen from the Vikings.
Get rid of the ball! It's like, God, you got to throw the ball run or do something. You can't take the sack.
I want to say at least 4 of those sacks, he held the ball for over 5 seconds. Okay. You just can't do it. You can't. You can't do it. I actually, for me, so you like the Eagles to win this game?
I like the Eagles to win this one. I like the under 43.5 in this one. I mean, Eagles got a stout defense themselves. Mm-hmm. And but this, as far as the spread went, I flipped back and forth on this one. But with Philly winning, I think they cover this 6 points.
Okay, I got 6.5. I actually like the Rams to cover the 6.5, but I actually like the Rams actually to go into Philly and actually pull off the upset
and knock them off.
Yes, I actually do, and here's why I'm going to say this, because it was very underwhelming how the pass game of the Eagles was.
It wasn't good.
And the other thing on top of that, when I say that, I said this a couple of years ago. I got to watch Jalen Hurts live and in person at the Cowboys game on a Monday night performance, and I looked at it. I saw a couple of balls he threw, and I was like, "That's not it." He made some things happen under the Shane Steichen offense, but once Shane Steichen left, that offense was gone. Kellen Moore, I told you, as offensive coordinator, him and Jalen Hurts do not mesh for his style of offense that he calls and how he calls the game, how Jalen Hurts plays his game. They really don't mesh at all, and I see that being a problem.
I just hope it's bad. Well, maybe he has a bad enough.
Well, they're saying it's going to be one of the coldest days in like 2 years in Philly for this game here, so that could be their only saving grace if it turns into a. But the Rams can play that game too.
They can.
Kyron Williams has been balling, man. St. Louis kid, he's been going nuts, man. So I don't know. I think the Rams going to actually pull off the upset in this game.
Actually, I probably wouldn't mind seeing that because there's talk out there of Kellen Moore coming back to Dallas to be the head coach. I want nothing to do with that.
I don't want anything to do with that at all. I see that being another Jason Garrett situation.
So honestly, if Philly shits the bed this weekend offensively, hopefully that knocks his name off the board.
I hope, but I mean, I don't know. Jerry Jones has showed he clearly has no plan of what the hell he's doing going forward.
Not.
So, and I don't even want to dive into that bullshit.
Do you like the over or the under?
I like the over in this one. I had it at 44.5.
All right, I had 43.5.
Yeah, I had 44.5. I like the over in this game. So.
I went under in this one. Out of the 6 games last week, 5 of them went under.
Oh, I know. But it's playoff football. That's what it is. And mainly because those games were so one-sided. So you had the one team doing their part of it, and the other team was not. I mean, basically putting up 7 points, 14 points, and that's where you had a lot of the unders going up. So then the last game, which is their game of the week, which might be the game of the play. Well, we'll see what happens in the next round here. But the Ravens at the Bills, you got the battle of the MVPs right here. I mean, this almost should be like an MVP game, so to speak.
Now this one, man, my head says that Baltimore's probably going to go in there and beat the Bills in a close game. But, man, my heart really wants the Bills to win this one. I'm not even going to lie. It would make my household so much better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got a lifelong Bills fan that you sleep with every night. So,
I'm not even going to lie. My heart's in this one. I'm picking the Bills. I'll take the 1.5 and give me the under 51.5. I think this one turns out to be a little more of a defensive struggle.
Okay. So, I think we're going kind of total opposite end in here. I like the Ravens to win this game. I actually don't, because when they played early in the season, it wasn't close. And they are obviously 2 different teams right now. But Zay Flowers may be back in the lineup this week.
Yeah, what was that, 34-10?
Yeah, I think once like 34-10, something along those lines. Here's my biggest issue, I think, with this game and what the Bills are going to have is they play more nickel defense than any other team in the NFL. You cannot line up in that defense with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson.
Oh,
so
no.
That is going to be a problem. I mean, so unless they have amazing tackling in this game, unless they can force some turnovers, I really see it being a hard time the Bills staying close and competitive in this game because Lamar Jackson actually right now, the only reason why I went last week with the Steelers is because the Steelers having Lamar Jackson's number and everything.
Right.
Lamar Jackson's in that mode right now. I think in the past, past year and a half, 2 years or so, he wanted to prove that he was a quarterback. And that he wasn't running the ball, he wasn't going through. But when he came out and said after that last game they lost, his mom cussed him out like, dude, why aren't you running the ball? What the fuck's going on? You know?
I mean, he had 81 yards rushing last week on top of the 186 yards.
And then once he did, and he did it first. He went off first, and then once he went off on that read option, then that opened it all up for Derrick Henry right up the middle, and then lighten it up. I mean, and again, the Bills are kind of light up front, even with Von Miller being able. Von Miller is not as stout as he used to be able to get some run because he's older. Obviously, he's always been an undersized defensive end. You got Matt Milano, stout in the middle, but I mean, again, they play a lot of nickel defense. I don't remember what's the number 7 for their on their defense. I can't remember the kid's name, but I know he got hurt last week, and I don't know what his status is going into this game here as well because he was a big playmaker for them. But so I like the Ravens actually to go in here, win in Buffalo. Obviously cover the 1.5 points, and I like the over at 51.5. Yeah, I think there's going to be some offensive points put up there, which I'm praying for because that's banking on one of the parlays. Yeah, that's where I went heavy on the high score, like the high over-unders on the parlays.
All right, well, them Sunday games are going to be interesting because we didn't agree on anything right there.
So it will definitely be interesting. I need it because, my record was shit last
I ended up going, in the first 3 games, I was 2-7 after, and then I went 8-1 in the last 3 games. Yes. So, it was Saturday and early Sunday were not good for me.
Yeah, it was a rough week all the way around for me. Just because I said, again, a couple of those spreads, that was the main one I got killed on was the spreads. I just wasn't expecting some of those games to be as big of a disparity as they were.
Right. All right, I've got a 5-leg touchdown for you right here. I've got Travis Kelce, anytime touchdown. Mixon, anytime touchdown. St. Brown, anytime touchdown. A.J. Brown, I think he's going to come with a stronger
I think he
game
will
than that
too.
one catch, 10 yards.
Yeah, I think he will too.
And a Derrick Henry anytime touchdown because he's just unstoppable right now. Plus 35.98.
Nice. That might be one I ride along with too. So my parlays, I focused all on the individual games. Excuse me. But I think so. Starting out with the Texans at the Chiefs. This game here, I went with the over at 41.5. DeAndre Hopkins in a revenge game going back to Houston, getting an anytime touchdown. Patrick Mahomes over 23.5 yards rushing because you know what? If you look at most of the games, he's hit his over on his rushing. Yeah, I mean, especially that pass rush, the way because they bring the rushes on the ends. Mahomes, he almost always hits that, especially in the playoff time. He's going to do whatever he needs to do to win the fucking game. So at 23.5, I felt like was nothing to get it over on his rush. And then a 1.5 touchdown passes for Patrick Mahomes. I think he scored 2 touchdowns. But that was at plus 1036.
Oh, okay.
Plus 1036. It wasn't that high. So again, I've been taking some L's bad this week, man.
So
you know, I always
trying to get some.
I said I'm swinging for the fences. I'm swinging for some contact this week.
A couple of singles, maybe a down little double.
Yeah, I'm swinging for some contact this week. You got another one lined up?
Yeah, I do. I got I actually went on the Washington Detroit game. So give me the 9.5 points for Washington. Lions on the money. A Gibbs anytime touchdown. A McLaurin anytime touchdown. And 40 yards plus rushing for Robinson Jr.
Okay, all right. So we got some similarities there.
And that's plus 1,500.
Oh, plus 1,500? Nice. All right, so next up, I got the Commanders and Lions game. I got a Jahmyr Gibbs anytime touchdown, Brian Robinson Jr. anytime touchdown. I also like Jaden Daniels to pass over 234.5 because they're going to have to even just to stay competitive. And even if they fall behind, he's even more.
Yeah, he'll have to throw.
He's going to keep throwing. Brian Robinson Jr. His over that I got on that was only 36.5.
Oh wow!
Yeah, through FanDuel it was only 36.5. So I like that one. Jahmyr Gibbs his over was 80.5. I like that one too as well. Then Terry McLaurin over 68.5 yards receiving. That was at plus 27.13. 27.13. So 6-leg parlay, but plus 27.13.
Interesting thing too. They have Montgomery listed on anytime touchdowns now.
Oh yeah,
they're saying he's back.
Yeah, he's gonna be back. All right, so we got Director Dave has the anytime touchdown parlay here.
Oh, yeah.
We got Travis Kelce, Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, James Cook, and Terry McLaurin at plus 36.42.
Like
plus 36.42. That's a good one right there, too, as well. Nice juice. And again, the stars come out during these rounds. The stars come out during these rounds. So you're always safe bet to go with those. Even though you get those random fucking guys, you're like, who the hell is this dude getting a touchdown here?
Yeah, like the guy who scored the first touchdown last week.
Jahan Dotson. Oh, he hadn't touched the ball all year. I was so mad because that was the one I needed, A.J. Brown. I had a 5-leg parlay, and I had the first 3 touchdowns to hit. And I was sitting there, and I was coming from the back of the bar, and all of a sudden I come out, and I was like, who's that? Is that A.J. Brown?
Dotson.
I was like, son of a bitch. I'm saying, the dude hadn't touched the ball all season.
Right.
I mean, since they traded him from Washington, he really hasn't done shit. Big first touchdown in the fucking season, at least the first one I've seen anyway.
Yeah, I don't remember him scoring.
No, not at all. All right, you got another parlay?
No, that's all. I only got 2.
All right, so I got 2 more lined up here. I got the Rams and the Eagles game here. So the Rams-Eagles game, I like Matthew Stafford to throw for over 225.5 passing. Jalen Hurts to rush for over 39.5 yards rushing. That pass rush, he's going to have to get out of that pocket. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of times he's going to be scrambling, even some design runs there. Kyron Williams over 12.5 yards receiving. He's shown himself to be very effective in the run and passing game. And then A.J. Brown for anytime touchdown. I kind of felt that one with you along those lines. Anytime he's got any criticism or something that's blown up, they kind of seem to make a point to get him the ball, get himself involved. He's got caught reading the book on the sidelines. He's going to make sure he's going to make some magic happen this week. So plus 1204 for that 4-leg parlay.
It's another nice little single.
Yeah. That's swinging for contact on this one. I choked up on the bat a little bit and say,
I like it.
All right, so the next up here, the last one for this week, I got the Ravens at the Bills. All right, so I got a Josh Allen anytime touchdown, Mark Andrews anytime touchdown, Lamar Jackson to pass for over 225.5. I like Derrick Henry to rush for over 96.5 yards, and Mac Hollins, he needs 1 catch, basically to get there, 15.5 yards receiving. 15.5 yards, and his ass seems to somehow, some way make some plays in the game when they need to. And I mean, like I said, this is going to be a dogfight. This will be one of those games where he kind of has a big catch, I think, at some point in this game.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
So that was at plus 36.49. All
right, that's
plus
a good,
36.
that's a good
so that was one of
one.
those where I was swinging for the fences on that one, baby. So that wraps up this week's slate of NFL playoffs.
Okay, I got a couple of questions for you, though. Are you tired of watching the running back slide down?
Yeah.
Saquon should take that one to the house. There was no point to slide there.
He shouldn't have. I mean, a couple of his opponents said it, but they won the game. And yes, I mean, but that's usually a gambler's request.
I know, I get that. And a fantasy request.
That's a fantasy and gambler's request usually for that. So in that regard, yes, I am sick of seeing the slide. I'm sick of the players going through and stopping, but they don't give a fuck about our fantasy.
They
don't give a fuck about our gambling money. And at the end of the day, they're trying to win football games. Saquon Barkley has been.
But they still would have won that. I mean, if anything, scoring that touchdown puts them in a better shape.
Yeah, but the last thing you want to take a chance of, you never know what happens, man. You give the team a chance with the ball in their hands.
19 points.
Oh, I know. I agree. Bobby, I agree, but crazier shit is happening.
No, you're not wrong.
All of a sudden you go, like let's say they take the kickoff back to the house.
Or he blows his knee out.
Or he blows his knee out, or that's the worst case scenario.
Right.
But let's say he scores a touchdown. Then they kick the ball off. They take the kickoff back to the house. Then there's still about like 6 minutes left in that game at that point. So I think at least 6 to 5 minutes. I think left in that game.
And then you're still running the ball.
And then let's say okay, like they get the ball back. And then let's say there's a fumble on their kickoff. Or let's say there's a fumble on the next possession within the first play or two. Or let's say, even worse, Jalen Hurts gets a strip sack or something like that. Defensive touch. Next thing you know, they're back in the game.
Yeah, they are. You're not wrong.
So at the end of the game.
But man, I hate that.
I know. It sucks for us to gamble, and it sucks for us to. And that's why I even know at certain points of the game, when I get to a certain point in my parlay, I'm like, that shit's over. Because you know. They're trying to play winning football. And when you're up, especially in a playoff game, the clock is your friend. And you're trying to control and play the clock. And that's your opponent at that moment, is the clock.
It is.
It's not the Packers anymore. It is the clock. Don't give these son of bitches any chance, any hope, any breath of life. You're trying to squeeze their neck, squeeze their throat to say, guess what? This is over. Because A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith they got on him like, dude, go. You should have ran at least got more yards and whatever.
Something.
And Saquon Barkley said, we went to the next round, didn't we?
Yeah.
And they had to shut the fuck up and say, yep, you're right. Yep, you're right. So with that being said, I mean, I agree with you from a gambler's fantasy standpoint. That's where we look at it a little differently.
It didn't cost me a bet, so I'll preface that. It didn't cost me a bet, but man, it did cost somebody else.
Oh, it did. I mean, and it sucks. I mean, but we've all been there. We've all been there.
No, I don't even want to talk about that shit.
We've all been there. Trust me, man. I've been on the slide like none other.
That's why I don't think you should get negative yards for a kneel down.
Oh yeah, but that's the risk you play when you have a quarterback that doesn't rush. Because you know what Matthew Stafford's rushing total was for last week? Over under
7.
0.5.
0.5.
And I still don't think he hit that shit.
Yeah, I doubt he even got that.
I'm pretty sure, especially because I know he kneeled down at the end of the game, so he lost those yards on that.
I'll have to look at that.
Oh my god! So again, that's what you have to look at when you're looking at those type of bets, those type of prop bets. Is that okay? Have they got a chance of winning? Is he going to actually break out of the pocket and win?
-1.
Yeah, what I tell you.
-1 yard. I guess with the
those
two
kneel downs. Yep. And it was when I saw that, I was like, half a yard. I was like, yeah, I'm not touching that though, because Matthew Stafford doesn't usually run for shit.
Not a runner.
He doesn't. I mean, he might scramble here or there, but it's not. It's out of necessity. It's definitely not out of fucking because I want to.
All right, one last question before we sign off. But who would you like to see coach the Cowboys?
Out of the options that are available right now, Jones.
Yeah, fuck, you might as well. I mean,
Jerry has lost his mind, man, and this goes back without even diving into politics. But this is why I say 80-year-old plus people shouldn't be running shit. That's just all I'm going to say, and I'm going to leave it at that. Whether it's a government, whether it's a football team, 80-year-old people shouldn't be running shit.
Okay, I'll throw a couple of names out there, just what I've heard so far. Cliff Kingsbury. Yeah, I wouldn't want anything to do with him. He didn't show me anything in Arizona that I would want to see in Dallas Cowboys. Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll, I wouldn't mind. Because I could see him being able to work with Jerry. He would re-energize the building. Dan Quinn was he was his assistant there for a long time. They're very similar as far as energy wise and how they get it. So Pete Carroll would definitely probably re-energize the building. He's a defensive coach. I like that in. So it just all depend on who he had bringing in and calling the offense. What they do to fix the offensive line and drafting, and maybe it's a couple more weapons during the offseason.
The only other two names that I'm even remotely interested in is the Lions coordinators. Would you like Johnson or would you like Glenn?
You know what? I would I would probably take, you know what, I'd probably say Aaron Glenn, but no, actually, no, I'd probably say Ben Johnson. The only reason why is because you get an offensive coach and you know you're going to keep your offensive system in place as long as he can handle the coaching job. But is he a good play caller or is he a good head coach? Because those are two totally different things.
No, yeah, we don't know.
Those are two totally different things. But they already missed the boat because the way Jerry mismanaged that shit, every other team has got to interview them, and the Cowboys have not. Because they waited to the last minute, again, doing Jerry Jones shit. You denied Mike McCarthy the interview with the Bears, and then you still let him go anyway, because that's why I thought he was coming back. When they denied the interview, I thought for sure.
They're just working out a contract.
I'm thinking, okay, we're just going to work this out. We're not going to let you interview. So you don't let him interview. You don't let him go right off the get-go at the end of the season. Then you miss out on the early interviews. All the interviews. I mean, Vrabel was only going to go back to the Patriots.
Yeah, he was definitely
so if I'd have had my pick out of everybody, because I told you at the middle of the season or early part of the season, I said Mike McCarthy is gone. I would have bet $5,000 that Bill Belichick was going to be the next coach of the Cowboys.
But they dicked around too long and let him get scooped up by North Carolina.
You know what? That wasn't even that wasn't a Cowboys thing. Belichick was going to North Carolina and back to college anyway.
You think so?
Yes, because I listened to too many interviews with him, and he said that college is pretty much being run like the pros right now. He said it's a lot easier to fix a college team now than you have the pros because you got the transfer portal, you got the high school recruits, you got so many different ways to fix your program now. Where the NFL, you got two avenues: you got the draft, and you got free agency. You know, and you're hampered on both. Where at college, you really don't. And so for these guys who are pretty much now, they go into any living room and go, "You don't want to go to the pros and get under the tutelage of Bill Belichick."
No, I mean, it's probably the smartest move North Carolina ever made.
The smartest move that North Carolina ever made, smartest move Bill Belichick made, because he doesn't care about this shit with the NFL. They like when I listen to him and Michael Lombardi talk, because I like to listen to their podcasts a lot, him and Matt Patricia as well. But they talk about how fucked the NFL system is right now because you got all this collaborative stuff, and it doesn't work that way, man. You don't need that many voices in the building of guys that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I mean, you don't. Like these owners, like Jerry Jones, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Woody Johnson, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Stay out of the way and let the guys you hired do what you brought them in to do.
That brings you back to the old Texans thing when they appointed the chaplain.
Yeah.
GM of the team.
I mean, that was what was his name?
Some owners just need to get out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, it just you do. You have to get out of the way, kind of let the guys that you brought in to be experts. Even with hiring these general managers by committee and all this other stuff like that, find a guy who's a football guy, and that head coach and that GM have to be simpatico on how things are ran in that building. So I really don't know what direction the Cowboys are going. As far as I'm concerned, as long as Jerry Jones is still alive, I'm kind of just like, it is what it is. Stephen Jones, hopefully you take over, watch your dad, see how he's fucked up the team, see how he's fucked up the organization, and you figure out how to get us back in the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl again. Because as long as Jerry's alive and making the moves and decisions he did, because, I mean, he screwed up with the Dak Prescott contract. He screwed up with the CD Lamb contract. I mean, even the Michael Parsons thing is going to be a mess. You watch. I mean, everything, it's just going to be a total mess. The running game, the running back position, to go in. Rico Dowdle, it was cute what he did. It was nice. He gave a good valiant effort and everything like that.
But wouldn't you rather have Henry
back? And I mean, it's all of it. I mean, yeah, that's what I mean. Just like so many things that show that he has no direction on how he's running his organization, which goes back to my original statement. 80-year-old motherfucker shouldn't be running a goddamn thing. And that's just, that's why I'm going to leave it at that.
Fair enough, brother.
Well, shout out to Director Dave, keeping us up on the ones and twos.
Yep.
Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. We got this coming up on the Championship Week next week. Let's see. Should be some great games this weekend. Shout out to True to Track, keeping us on the ones and twos. I'm Jason Smoking Token.
I'm Bobby Light.
See you next week.
Peace.